Welcome to the show. It is me, your girl, Labora Lee, aka Cat Lee. And hold on, wait a minute, because it's something you need to know.
You have now tuned in to Ambitiously the podcast.
Listen, y'all, today I want to get into some things that we don't often talk about. And I think that we should have especially as adults, we should be having a conversation about this. But before I get to it, there are a few things that you need to know. First things first, we gotta take a quick commercial break. I'll be right back.
Want last minute brand design help? Get top tier Fiverr freelance creatives at your fingertips fast with secure payments and 24/7 support. Head to fiverr.com today and get something started.
Okay, I'm back. I told you it was 15 seconds. It's not that long. I'm right back. I'm here. So anyway, um, what you need to know is today is Wet and Wired Wednesday. Today is the day that we come through and we talk about all of the things that are taboo, important in our adult life. Sometimes we'll talk about parenting, which today kind of tends to lean towards that a little bit, not all the way, and you'll get it in a second. Well, no, a lot of that. You'll get it in a second. But we talk about all the things that we should be having like adult conversations about. Sometimes people are too scared and afraid to talk about these things. So we're gonna talk about it. First things first though. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. The like and the share is free. It's not going to cost you anything to do so. Now, subscriptions, that's a whole nother thing, but it doesn't even cost that much to do that either. Also, the phone lines are open. You can hit us up at 443-850-4828, 443-850-4828. And the number scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You can drop a comment. You can shoot me a text. I will read your text on the show. And I will, just keep it cute. Or you could actually ask me to drop the link, and I will, as long as you are on your best behavior. Otherwise, we're gonna have a problem. And I can almost guarantee you we're gonna have a problem because I don't play that shit. Excuse my language, but it's wired, so you already know it's not really all that PG over here. Okay, guys. So if you're watching this show, you're reading the title. It's Wet and Wired Wednesday, and we're talking about generational wealth, generational health, and bad generational curses. And breaking those curses, because it's a lot I want to get into. But I'm going to start with generational wealth. I'm going to give you some information first, and then I'm going to get into breaking that shit down the way you need it broken down. Or not really the way you need it broken down, but a lot of my opinion and such and such and such and so forth and so forth. So let's talk about generational wealth. What is generational wealth? Well, honey, generational wealth refers to the financial assets passed by one generation of the family to another. Those assets can include cash, stocks, bonds, and other investments, as well as real estate and family businesses. In recent years, generational wealth has become a focal point in discussion about the racial wealth gap. We're going to get into that. And the increasing concentration of wealth in the United States because it plays a substantial role in both. Now, what is racial wealth gap, do you ask? I'm going to tell you. All right, because there's a lot to get into this. Before I get into racial wealth gap, I want to start by saying I do believe there is, because of how society was set up for minorities, it is very hard for them to teach their children about generational wealth, let alone pass down the generational wealth. I work very hard now to try to, when I'm no longer here, to make sure that I have something to give my daughter. Um, Something substantial so that she will be okay. But I want to get to the point where as though she'll have something to pass down to her children. If we could pinpoint a couple that would be of racial minority, that is a prime example of who is going to be able to pass their children generational wealth. That would be Beyonce and Jay-Z. Blue Ivy already has something like $500 million in the bank. Um, and I'm quite sure Rumi and Sir do too. So let's get to what is racial wealth gap. Although the term racial wealth gap technically refers to the difference in assets owned by different racial or ethnic groups, the gap results from a range of economic factors that affect the overall economic well-being of those different groups. The term reflects an opportunity, means of support, and resources. We know if you're a minority, you already know what that looks like. And there's a young lady, we're gonna get to her in a second. But key takeaways, we're gonna get into that. So these are some things that we should talk about. Generational wealth refers to assets passed on by one generation of the family to the next. In some cases, assets are transferred after death in the form of inheritance. In other ways, they are passed to the next generation while the giver is still alive. Generational wealth contributes to both the wealth gap between rich and poor in the United States and the wealth gap among races. It is a sad thing. Well, here's the thing. I hear a lot about, one ethnic background having priority over the other. Do I believe that's true? Yeah, to an extent. I also do believe, well, to a lot of extent, but I also believe that there are people out here who worked very hard, of people of color, who worked very hard to make sure that they have had something to leave behind for their children. But I will say this. A lot of times, those that do not work towards that goal of providing generational wealth to their offspring and or bloodline, whatever you want to call it. I believe that the reason why they are not able to, or why they do not do so, even when they do get money or get in a position where they are available to do so, is because they were never taught to do so. Just like I think that when it comes to schools, me personally, I think that financial growth, or teaching the kids young, as they're young, how to be financially stable, and teaching them how to handle their finances early would be a beautiful thing. Would I like my daughter to be taught that? Absolutely. I try myself to teach her that by showing her that, like, all right, you spend this money here, you have an option. This is one of the scenarios that I give her, right? So let's say she wants something. Now, one thing about my daughter, I love her to death. She's the cutest little sweet pea, and she's so sweet and adorable, but she's expensive. So the thing is, she'll come and she'll be like, okay, I could say, I'm going to the store, and she'll be like, well, can I have a soda? So one of my ways of doing that, because she gets money, she earns money around the house. We give her money, she earns money. She's not a brat, but she's kind of spoiled. So I'll be like, well, you have to spend your own money. But she knows that there are other things that she would like to spend her money on. So then she'll weigh the options. Well, I want this, but I want this. Do I want to spend this $2 on a soda? which this is also the way that helps me stop her from drinking a lot of soda. Do I want to spend this $2 on a soda, or do I want to continue to save so that I can get, let's think of something. Maybe the video game that she wants, Five Nights at Freddy. Do I want to save my money so that I can make sure that I get this game? And that's a decision that she has to make herself, but it's called financial responsibility. No, you can't always spend my money, because then how am I going to save money to pass on generational wealth if I keep buying you everything? And how are you going to be able to, in turn, one day when you have children, teach your children the same lessons if you have no idea how to be fiscally responsible? So, but I do believe that a lot of people will never be able to, because one is that gap of poor versus rich, but two, there are people who are out here who are very successful, and then be like, I'm not, and so they're not spreading the generational wealth. So it's crazy. Let's see where we at time. Okay, so now that we've gotten past the generational wealth stage of things, 10 o'clock. Let's move on to, because I think I'm gonna be on the curses for a minute. So let's move on to generational health. There are things that we don't teach our children. We don't teach our children. It's probably having the reason why we don't teach some of our children these things is probably because it was not taught to us, unfortunately. But I think we should start changing the generational values. So I want to get into this one particular thing, and this piece I'm about to read, this came from Johns Hopkins University. So just listen up. It was published November 17, 2022. So there are 4 generations. You have from the oldest to the youngest right now in the time that we live in. You have the baby boomers, you have Generation X, which is the generation I belong to, and then you have millennials, and then you have Generation Z. I'm very afraid for Generation Z, and I'll tell you why anyway in a minute. But these generations were raised in different social and political atmospheres, and therefore consider different childhood upbringings and familiar experiments. From familiar environments, which beget different values and wants and needs in adulthood. The thing is, when it comes down to health, I know you're thinking, oh, wow. And I'm going to get back to this in a second. That's just a good segue to start it. You think I'm talking about the physical health? Yeah, I'm talking about that too, because it's things that we need to teach these kids that they don't know and won't know. When it comes to, let's say, again, I'm going to use myself and my daughter as an example, and I'm tell you why I use us as an example, because that is my experience, right? So when it comes to raising my daughter, now in her school, they're starting to teach them about health and puberty and things of that nature. I, as a parent, well, let me just start this. I stopped the goo goo gaga when she was like 6 months. At this point, we gonna develop these words, and you're gonna tell me what it is that you want. So I'm not goo goo and gaga, even though she was still, in a little goo goo gaga part, but it helped with her development to be able to explain, to talk, and to tell me what it was that she wanted. So by 1, we were in that plane. Now, she's 11, and I'll say it's certain things that I've started talking to her about at the age of, I'm a woman, so it's things that she sees, and she's like, Mom, what's that? Because that's one thing that I love about her. She asks questions, and I have no problems answering those questions. Why? Because the things that she's asking me the questions about mostly pertain to becoming a woman. So when she was old enough to see what was going on with me as far as my menstrual cycle. She wanted to know little things. Well, what's that you use? Well, this, the transition was different, but this is a cup, or this is the pad. This is this, etc. But there are certain things that I feel like generationally, I can't even get that out. You hear the sirens? I think they're throwing me off. I live close to a hospital, by the way, people. But for generations and generations, women have been afraid to talk to their daughters about certain things, and their sons. Same thing with men. They're afraid. There were a lot of men who are afraid to deal with certain things when it comes to their daughters. Like, again, PMS. Go talk to your mom. Yeah, but you're a man, and you were with her mom, so you were there when those times were happening, correct? So what if her mom's not here anymore to explain those things to her? And you're the one that's left, and you're the one that's raising her. You're going to have to be the one to explain it to her. So I think that we need to break that cycle of not being able to discuss with our children certain all of the levels of health, for that matter, because no matter how you look at it, whatever we go through, men, women, whatever, we were kids once. And if we had somebody who wasn't explaining a lot of the things that we go through, the growth, the development, and all of those things, we were lost. I mean, it's certain things, I knew certain things, but there were a lot of things I didn't know, and I had to find out on my own. So I feel like to promote generational health, I have discussions with my daughter. And no, I don't necessarily want them having the discussion with my daughter about, I don't want them to have in the schools to have the discussion with my daughter about puberty before I have the discussion. So I'm not nervous to talk to her about it, where a lot of parents would be like, for example, do you know where babies come from? That would be a scary thing for most parents to have a discussion about. For myself, I don't get graphic with it, like, oh, well, this is what we do exactly, and this is how, but she understands her body parts and what she has and the things that are going to happen to her. Like, she's going to right now, she's a preteen, so she's in transition to her young womanhood. And so there are things that you do that you shouldn't do. And so I prefer marriage. But you shouldn't do until the time is right. When you got everything out the way, and when you focus and you know where you're going and you find that right person. But those things that you do with the other person, specifically, and that's how specifically a male, that can lean towards you having a baby. You don't want to have a baby young. And so I'm going to example for her, because I didn't have her until I was 32. Having a baby young is not the end thing. It's just things that we need to talk about to our kids. And a lot of us are scared to talk about them. So then next thing you know, there's a teen pregnancy happening. Because you're afraid to have these conversations, and you're afraid to let them know what it is. And you're afraid to touch on these things. And they don't know because nobody is teaching them. And then you have the black girl lost situation, or the girl lost. I'm not going to say black girl lost, because it's all kinds of girls in this world. But then you have the girl lost situation, where she's going out here looking for something that she doesn't really need to look, because if you really love them, you'll talk to them about it. Also, mental health. I don't think that we focus on touching into their mental health as well as our own. And in order to promote good mental health habits, and what I mean by that is, you can't tell somebody to go talk to somebody, well, you having issues, you need to go, and you're not willing to do it yourself. So in order to promote good mental health values, I feel like, one, you must be willing to take the same steps that you're telling your children and their children to take. It's accountability. It really is, at the end of the day. So Okay, so early and late psychological researchers have proven this to be true. The environment in which an individual is brought up in, namely the things that they lack or are deprived of in childhood, strongly influences the values or the value development throughout adulthood. I concur. I believe that. Um, and I don't know. I believe it's the environment. I really do, because whatever your environment is growing up does it plays a huge part to who you become as an adult. And it could play it's like, you know how you got the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder. It could go either way. You don't know. Some people will take that situation like, this is how I grew up and it was horrible, so I'm going to take the opportunity as an adult to make the best out of what my life is now that I'm an adult. Or you have the people that will take the things that happened to them when they were children, adolescents, or teenagers, or early adults, and say, woe is me. This is why I am the way I am, because these things happened to me. So I'm not going to be shit. I don't know how else to word that. I'm sorry, but it's like that. And it's crazy, but it's like that. So I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you that's how it goes. So let's see. Okay, so it says, but how exactly does this tie into ever-changing work habits and, falling in line with employers? Because all of these things go together. It's real crazy. So if you don't know what generation you fall under, I'm going to tell you, but you should pay attention to the things. So baby boomers were born in from 1946 to 1964, raised post World War II. Resources were limited. Society, work-centric, conservative, competitive, 25% of today's workforce. I'm going to be real with you. Gen X, born 1965 to 1980. That would be my peoples. Raised after war, but before technology society. Work-life balance, independent, materialistic. 33% of today's workforce. Gen Y, millennials, were born within 1981 to 1996, raised in an economically stable and technological, I couldn't even get that out, advancing society, questioning flexibility, prioritization. Well, I can't get it out. They make themselves a priority, because I'm trying to get it out my tongue right now, and I'm getting tongue twisted. Growth oriented, 35% of today's workforce. Gen Z, born from 1997 to 2010, raised in a digital world, economically fluctuating society, communicative, they're open for communication, diverse, cooperative, I don't know about that one, collaborative, I don't know, and 5% of today's workforce. I think that there are a lot of creative people in the Gen Z world. I'll say it's a lot of anything from Gen X down. I can't speak on the baby boomers. That's like my mom. My mom is in the baby boomer era, I guess, and my dad too. And I'll say this, and this is an honest perception. Anything that is like creative, or where it comes to like a creative type of like if you choose a job that is more centered towards creativity, they're like, what are you doing? You need to get a solid job. You need to become a nurse. I'm trying to think of the other jobs that were offered to me, that they offered up, but one specifically was nurse. And I remember saying like, join the military. Is for them, it's more about stability versus anything. Like they just, you work hard to get a pension and you retire. That's their thing. It's not really about being happy with the job that you have. It's more so about just having a job. Where I'll say a lot of Gen X, Gen Y, or millennials, whatever you want to call them, and Gen Z generations are more so of, okay, I want to be able to, I do want to be able to have some stability, but at the same time, I really, really want to be happy with it, whatever it is that I do. And our thing is like, we don't want you to tell us what it is that we want to do with ourselves. Whereas though that might have happened for you and the people who raised you, i.e. our grandparents, or great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents, but whoever raised you might have been telling you what to do with your life. But in our lives, we want to find out who we are. So yeah, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. But yeah, I want to keep it moving. Where we at? Okay, we good. We good. But I think that with the baby boomer generations, when it comes to mental health and physical health, they were the ones that's like, okay, we don't talk about certain things. You just suck it up. You don't talk about your feelings. You just suck it up and get over it and understand that it is what it is. Where I think that the Gen X and the Gen Y millennials, and the Gen Z crowds are more like, I gotta get it off my chest. So I don't know. And then I think, especially specifically with men, you're always taught that because the generational health gap for you guys is even way worse, because you guys are taught that you're not allowed to cry. You're not allowed to express your feelings. You're not allowed to say when you're hurting. You're not allowed to say when you're happy. You're not, well, you are, but there are a lot of people that will try to stop you from doing that. My encouragement this evening is stop being around people who tell you can't do that. Us ladies, we tell you all the time. And see, this is important. Me saying this leads to another thing, because if you have sons, then you can, I'm going to get to that in a minute. I don't want to go too far too soon. I'm going to play this commercial, and then we will get to breaking the generational curses, the bad curses, the bad generational curses. We're going to work on breaking those. But you guys are always told you can't do this and you can't do that, and you got to be a certain kind of way. And in order for you to be a real man, you got to be like this and you got to be like that. A lot of times, or you got to be a chauvinist, or you got to be, and it's sad. And then there's the whole thing when you're taught and you're conditioned to think, and I'm going to get back to that in a second, that the gender role thing is a thing. The man must have respect at all times, and I agree with that to an extent. The man is the provider, although with Gen X, and maybe baby boomers too, some of them baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z, that's not really a thing anymore, and that's not, whatever. And then the woman should be submissive, and she should be this way. But the people that are teaching you these things, look at their lives and then tell me what you see. And then once you tell me what you see when it comes to their lives, why are you listening to them? But we're going to get to this. I want to get to this breaking these generational curses in a second. But it's weird because they'll be like, yeah. So when you get, this is old school. Let me just give it to you real quick though. Old school. The man, when he gets home from work, he should have dinner on the table. The house should be clean. The kids should be fed, and put to bed and all of that good stuff. And you should be, as a woman, because it's after I've been on here for a minute. So as a woman, you should be ready to fuck. Never mind, they're not saying, adding on the part that you got to go to work and you got to pay half the bills. Never mind, you got to take care of the kids and clean the house and all of that shit. But these are the things that we're taught, and we think they're okay, instead of changing the game and how it looks and saying, all right, fuck them. We're going to make our own rules. We're going to make our own rules, and we're going to break these generational curses. But that's not what we get. But when I come back from this quick commercial, even though I'm still going to be talking, but when I come back, we're going to get into these generational. And remember, you can drop a comment, call in, text 443-850-4828, 443-850-4828. Or you can ask me to drop the link, and I will. So you can come in and join the conversation about this, because it's very interesting. It's a lot of things in this world, or a lot of things that we've been programmed to think, and nobody's ever telling us to break the curses. Hold on, y'all. Okay, there we go. I got scared because it blinked out for a second. But build your own way of living. They never tell you that. They say keep following the generational curses. But we're going to get to that in a second. First things first. Savage Fenty, ladies, 2 for $29 bras, 50% off on other items for new VIP memberships. The link is in the description or below. Just click the link and it'll guide you there, baby. It'll take you there. Speaking of Fenty Beauty by Rihanna, they have a new Reset Overnight Recovery Gel Cream, and it's on sale right now for $40. It's brand new. Try that out. It's nice. Let's keep it moving. I'm going fast because I got other things to talk about. Because I want to get these things out of the way. 21 free meals and free shipping plus 3 free gifts when you say when you use the code HelloFresh21. That's 21 free meals, free shipping, and 3 free gifts when you use the code HelloFresh21. Oh, I like this one. NakedOnes.com. Flex offers. Use the code FlexOffers6. You get $100 off a 6-pack of wine. They're not small bottles either. They're regular size bottles of wine. And you'll get it for $39.99 using the code FlexOffers6. So yeah. Okay. Let me get back to it. Okay. So I couldn't wait to get into this generational curse thing. What are generational curses, do you ask? Well, I'm going to tell you because I think you need to know. And then I'll give you a synopsis of everything I talked about, just in case you're just coming in. So what are generational curses, and how could they secretly be affecting your life? One of those curses I just told you about what people tell you you're supposed to think and what you're supposed to do. And as long as you abide by these things, you will be a part of that system of generational curses. Okay, so generational curses or family curses have more than one origin or definition. They have ties to genetic imperfections passed down from your parents, and they could be spiritual curses placed upon your ancestors, and sins they committed in the past as well. And I hope nobody put a root on my family. I hope. Let's get into some of the types. So, psychological indicators. Generational curses are believed to affect the mind first because it is within that battlefield that all other parts of the body are controlled. You know, your brain tells the rest of your body what to do. Your heart pumps pumps the blood and, give you that. But the brain is the indicator. It tells you it tells your body parts what to do. So, as most of us know, the mind-body connection is strong. And so starting with the mind is a genius way for a curse to take over quickly. Since these curses are generational, they are said to affect individuals as early as childhood. So one that they would say would probably be a generational curse would be mental health. Now, I don't want to say it is, but I don't want to say that it isn't. You feel me? Because that's just my opinion, though. Because the reason why I don't want to say that it is because science and medicine come into play. But I don't want to say that it isn't something that's passed down from generation to generation, because it is in hindsight. Let me give an example of that. Let's say, for example, we're going to go back a couple of generations. So let's say your great-grandmother was abusive to your grandmother, and then your grandmother was abusive to your parent, mother or father. Your mother. Let's just keep it ladies. Abusive to your mother, and then your mother in turn doesn't realize, even though she might try to change some of those things, she still has those tendencies because these are the things that she learned. Now, let's take it a step further. Let's say your grandmother had mental health issues and your great-grandmother had mental health issues because whatever her environment was and whatever she was going through at the time, which, a lot of people from back then, they was going through some stuff. And then your grandmother has some mental issues as well. And then your mother, and then you. And so I kind of but at the way modern medicine speaks, I don't know. I just don't know. But let's get into what they have to say. One sign believed to be a generational curse of mental health a generational curse is mental illness, manifesting as depression, and multiple personality disorders, and etc. Now, mental illness is seen in so many ways. By science, it's seen as a malfunction in the brain. By shamans, it is seen as an awakening. And for religion, it is seen as a demonic possession. Everybody has a different way of looking at it. So there's no surprise that mental illness is seen as in other spiritual areas can be seen as a curse as well. Again, I said I don't know if I stand on the side of saying it is or it's not a generational curse, but I just explained to you it could from great grandmother to grandmother to mother to now the child. Let's see, nightmares. They say that's a generational curse. I don't know about nightmares, but see, I don't think that's I'll get to that in a minute, but I don't think that. But let's say, as with mental illness, nightmares have many meanings observed by society. They can be side effects of some life event or bad diet. I'm gonna go with bad diet. They can be overactivity in the brain, or they can simply be a curse sent by your great grandmother to haunt you for your lifetime. Oh shit! I love my great grandmother. I hope she would never do that to me. Well, actually, these are oh my gosh! I just can't imagine my great grandmother putting a curse on me. But they're saying that nightmares could be considered. I don't think that any of these things are generational curses. Other character flaws. Let's get into this one. This is one of the most interesting. It kind of makes me pause and consider that it could be true. Many generational curses are said to take form in character flaws, which repeat through history. This is the one I wanted to get to. For instance, if your father was a heavy drinker, abusive, and abandoned his family, and you find that you are following the exact same route, then maybe you could be under his curse. I've seen firsthand how sons intimidate the ex of their father, and it's rather uncomfortable to witness. So that was the one I wanted to get to. The physical indicators, I don't really say that, marks on the body, birthmarks. I don't know that it's not a curse. Addiction, maybe if you saw your family members on drugs real heavy, it might affect you. I've had family members that have been on drugs, but it's never like had me wanting to go snort something or shoot something. I've never ever wanted to do that. Disease, illness, and injuries, that's genetics. So I guess that could be a generational curse because it's genetics. Physical beauty, that can be a gift and a curse. Because one will say you blessed with beauty, but being blessed with beauty physically is not always a good thing. So yeah, I don't know. But I want to get to this one indicator, because this is the one that I want to talk about, character flaws. I do think that that's one of the major generational curses above all. I'm going to be honest with you, because you saw somebody do something, or somebody taught you a certain kind of way to live, and you hold on to that shit like it's the end all, the be all. Like that's just how life is going to be. And never mind, you don't know, like, let's say for relationships, for example, let's say you were raised by a misogynist. He's telling you all the things I just said before we went to commercial, right? Fellas, I'm gonna use y'all in this one. So your dad raised you, and he's like, all right, son, this is my best dad impersonation. All right, son, women are supposed to be submissive, but he doesn't give you an idea or the exact way in which the woman is supposed to be submissive. Now, does he? He just says women are supposed to be submissive. So you go out here and you think, yeah, women are supposed to be submissive. They're supposed to listen to everything I say and do whatever I tell them, and that's what it is. Son, she should always be ready to give you some. Never mind, she got a job, she's taking care of things, and then if she's a good mom, so what else? She should always put a meal on the table. She should have your meal ready and your house clean and your clothes washed. Never mind. She works too, because in this day and age, y'all don't want to take care of everything. Y'all want us to help take care of the bills and be the housewife. You don't want us just to be the housewife and take care of the household. You want us to go to work and then come home and take care of the household. But they're telling you all of these things, and these things, the misogyny is now your generational curse, because more than likely you're going to take it to your sons. But it's, again, a generational curse. You can take it like, all right, this is what they said, but I don't necessarily believe all of these things. Or you could take it and be like, this is what I was, so I'm going to stay stuck in this curse. You gotta break that shit. I'm sorry. There are some things, like, I'm quite sure some of our great-grandparents beat the hell out of their kids, and then that's our grandparents, so then they beat the hell out of their kids, and then our parents maybe beat the hell out of us or maybe didn't, depending on what they were drinking. But 9 times out of 10, if that happened to them, then they take it and they do that to you. Now, here's your opportunity to be like, nah, it gotta be a better way of disciplining my child. And I don't think beating the hell out of my child is the answer. You gotta break the curses. If you don't, you're gonna be you're gonna keep the curse going. And now your kid is going to be like that, and their kid is going to be like that, and their kid is going to be like that. It's certain things that we just have to deprogram ourselves from. We don't really need to be carrying those. I'm not even going to call them tradition. Those curses on with us in life. So yeah, that's how I feel about generational curses. I really think the character flaws is a major one for me, because those are the curses that you can break. You can't get rid of the physical indicators. You can't get rid of well, you don't have to even sway towards addiction, but you can't get rid of certain illnesses that are genetics, like let's see, I'm trying to think, like cancers and things like that. Certain things, that sicknesses that go, heart disease, cancer, diabetes. These are some of the things that are, you can kind of try to stop them and live a healthier life. But some things are just naturally, they just come with you being the offspring of certain people. And the physical beauty thing you can't help. There's nothing you can really do about how you look. God made you the way he made you. You can't stop, you can change your diet, and that'll help you with your nightmares. And try drinking water before bed. That'll help you with your nightmares as well. But nightmares come. I have nightmares. And mental illness, you can't really change that until you know that that's an issue that you deal with. But those character flaws, you can change those, because you don't have to listen to I don't have to listen to what my mother said I should be doing, and she didn't have to listen to what her mother told her she should have been doing. We all are in different times, so things work differently. Now, ladies, that don't ever get it fucked up. I'm not saying don't be a submissive woman to your spouse. What I'm saying is, we live in different times. Submission looks different. We are not in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s running around and just sitting in the house anymore. We can't, because one, the economy probably is not set up like that for us to do that anymore. Unless you got that right dude that's just like, baby, I got this. And then fellas, don't be wanting her to be Miss Betty Crocker, sitting in the house, the submissive wife, subservient, doing whatever not when you ask her to split the bill. You can't. So, but there are character flaws that we can work on and we can change. We just have to apply ourselves. The other things, you can't really do anything about them, but them fucking character flaws, you can do something about them. You absolutely can. And I don't want to hear that you can't. You can change your way of thinking. You can open your mind. You can broaden your horizons. It's up to you, though. I gotta show love to my people, though. My favorite part of the show. But I wanted to get into some of those things, and I'm gonna go back and reflect in a second. Let me show my people some love real quick. But those are things that we should really take into consideration. Them character flaws, you can help that. You can't always help the rest, but you can help them character flaws. But let's show some love, because I'm in a loving mood and I like showing love. Oh man, and these download numbers are going up, honey. And so I'll definitely be in the mood for showing love when the numbers go up. Keep them numbers going up so I can keep showing y'all love. Keep them coming, boo. But yeah, consider a change in your character. Those character flaws you can change that. You can. You just have to be willing. You have to be willing. Open your mind and open your heart. You can do it. You don't have to be who the people were that raised you, and you don't have to be the people that be those people that raised them, or so forth. And so you don't have to be them. You can be your own person. I believe in being your own person. It's a great thing. So hi babies. Anybody, first, let me say, anyone who has tuned in to this podcast tonight from Twitter, from Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube, thank you for tuning into this podcast. I appreciate you so much. You didn't drop a comment, so I can't really shout you out for real. But if you ever drop a comment and say, hey, I'm going to show you love, and or I get to say who shares, because I will do it later. But the likes, if I see them, or the comments, if I see them, for sure, I'm going to shout you out. Okay? But you got to say something in order for me to give you the love. But these people I'm about to give love to, this is my listening audience. These people come from all over the world, and they take the time to come and download the podcast and show your girl love. And I appreciate that. So I show them love back. But let me start with my top 6, because, they here for a baby, and they showing up, and I love them. I love them very much. First, the United States, first and foremost, my country. Thank you, babies. I love you. Thank you for showing up, listening to this podcast. Y'all do, and I love you for it. I do. Keep on coming through, booze. Keep on. Next, the United Kingdom. Y'all come through, and I see y'all. I'm looking at numbers right now, and I'm telling you, I see you, and thank you so much. The United Kingdom is swell. I love you guys so much. Next, we have France. They have been here from day one, and I love you, darling, so, so much. Don't ever get it twisted. I love you with all of my heart. I do. And I got some business in France to handle anyway. Like, I know I'm going to look like a total tourist when I come there. I'm sorry, but it's a lot of history and culture there, and I'm between you and the UK, for real. And I ain't talking about just England. I'm talking about Ireland, even though they not a part of the UK anymore. But Scotland, all of that. It's a lot of things I need to explore. A lot of country houses I need to check out. And some things I need to see. I need to get to Versailles. It's a lot of places. Okay, Marseille. I need to get a lot of places. And I love you, France. That's the point. I love you. Okay. Next, India. Got a couple of spots there I need to check out as well. I love you, India. Thank you for coming here and showing me love. I see y'all, and I appreciate you so much. Germany. Hi, darling. I see you, and I love you too. I do. And I like to save this one for last, because they kind of pulled up and came out of nowhere and surprised the girl, but they show big love. And I'm talking about Belgium. Hi, Belgium, specifically Brussels. I love you so much. Thank you so much. Now, I shouted them out first, but that doesn't mean I don't love you all the same. It just means that they download the most. And so I showed them love first. That's it. That's all it means. But I love you all equally. So because I love you all equally, I would like to continue with the rest of my love. Brazil. Hi, darlings. Thank you. Netherlands, Singapore, South Africa, Spain, Philippines, Australia, Japan, Mexico, Ireland, Nepal. Our homeboy is from Nepal. He's here in town. Big shout out to him. Mauritius, Israel, Canada, Hong Kong. I'm not done. I'm not finished. I could have, of course, I'm not. So let's see what we got here. Who else we got love from? Oh, this one's so cute. Indonesia. Hi, darlings. Welcome. Thank you for coming in, showing love. I see you. Welcome. Come back. Russia, darlings. Hi. Come back. I love you so much. Who else we got? Switzerland. Hi, darlings. I thank you so much, and I love you. I do. Well, Turkey. I'm still waiting for my Turkish people to come back and keep teaching me what I need to learn. I said I want to learn Turkish. Sorry. Austria. Hi, Austria. Thank you for being here, and come back. I always want y'all to come back. Kenya. Hi, darlings. Thank you for being here. Come back. Pakistan. Hi. Come back. Romania. Hello, darlings. I appreciate you so much. Make sure you come back. I'm not done. I'm not. I know. It's a long list, but it's love. So what do you do? China. Hi, darlings. Come back. I love you. Who else? I said, Poland, hello, darlings. Come back. I love you. Tunisia, come back, darlings. I love you. I love you so much. And Venezuela, I love you, but I am not done. I'm not done. I'm not done. Who else we got on this list? So I said, let me make sure I got everybody. Yep, we got them. We got all of them. We got everybody over here, I believe. Let me make sure I don't want to miss anybody. Nope, we didn't miss anybody on this side. I said Switzerland. I hope I said Switzerland. I believe I said Switzerland. I know I said Indonesia. Okay, so, and I said Kenya. Also in Africa. I love Africa. Thank you. I love you guys because it's my DNA, baby. Nigeria. Thank you, babies. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming here and checking out the podcast. I love you guys. You guys are extraordinary. You don't have to come and listen to this podcast, but you do. And I love you for it. I love you. I promise I have more and more. Oh, okay. We got a like, and now I can show some love. Who liked this podcast? So I can show them. Hey, JB Clayton. Hi, what up, boo? Hey. I had to show all that love real quick because the love is real, and those people, they don't know what I look like. Y'all looking at me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. These people I just shouted out real quick, these countries, they have no clue what I look like. So that means a lot. That this is just like my conversation. So that means a lot. Now to recap everything that I've talked about tonight. We talked about generational wealth. We do understand that, sometimes being of the minority demographic is not passed to us, but we gotta change the way we do things and try to pass it to our children. We gotta take our power back, or just take it and say that we're gonna change it up for our offspring and their offspring, and so forth and so forth. You're gonna leave a legacy, generational health. Don't be afraid to teach these children so that when they have children, they won't be afraid to teach them. You got to pass that knowledge about health care and how to live your best life as an individual, but being able to have those discussions with them, and so that they'll be able to do it later. And then curses. You can't change generational curses. You can't change your mental health situation. It is what it is. Your physical aspects, your beauty, your marks. You can't change any of that. You can stay away from certain things to stop you from being an addict and all of that good stuff. You don't have to be an addict. You can't stop nightmares, but I told you, you can change those character flaws because they're flaws, but they can always be fixed and changed and all of that good stuff. So work on that. I think that would be my recommendation. I work on I analyze and just analyze myself every day. And especially if I do something that's like bullshit, I'm going to sit down and reflect upon it and then be like, damn, I shouldn't have did that shit. That was some fuck. And then, so yeah. And now I got to take accountability and I got to apologize for what I just did because that was some bullshit. But I'm a Libra. All of y'all are not Libras, so y'all wouldn't understand. I need my life to be balanced out. Some things I gotta say before I get out of here. Let me do this really quickly so I can get out of here. Yeah, listen to this really quick. No, I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna chill off commercials tonight. There are some things I have to get off my back though. There are. Like, if you would like to be on the show, or if you have a product you want to promote, a business, some music, a movie perhaps that's coming out. Speaking of that, Majestic Behavior has a new movie coming out. I'll let y'all know when it's dropping. A movie coming out perhaps. Hit me up. You got a suggestion. You just want to say hi. Hit me up, ambitiouslythepodcast@gmail.com. Again, the email address is ambitiouslythepodcast@gmail.com. Remember, the phone line is always open. Well, it's not always open, but during the show it's always open. So you can call in 443-850-4828, 443-850-4828, or you could drop a comment, hit the like button. I'll see if you like this so I can shout you out. You can send me a text and I'll read it on the show, or you could ask me to drop the link and you can come on the show. I'll let you on. Just be on your best behavior because I don't want to have to cuss you out. I don't. I play music only usually on Fire Fridays, but if I am playing music, know that I have permission to do so. I just don't go around here playing people's music without their permission. No, I have some written permission, some audio permission, some visual permission, but the point is I have permission. I'm not just playing these videos just because I want to. Nah, it's a business. And you do things a certain kind of way when it comes to business. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Just make sure you do that. That's how you show us love for real, for real. Check out the website, www.ambitiouslyentertainment.com, www.ambitiouslyentertainment.com. I will be working on that tomorrow, amongst other things, because we are premiering our new segment of the show called Hood History on Saturday. So yeah, it's a lot of things going on. I'm a busy girl. Meetings, working on this new portion of the show called Hood History. By the way, I'm starting with Baltimore first, because there's a lot of explanation that people don't have about the city. You know, they talk about how violent it is, but I'm gonna give it to you so you know why the city is the way the city is. And we ain't gonna blame it on black folks. It's a lot to talk about. And I'm not gonna be explaining it how they would explain it to you in history class. The way I'm explaining it is in my everyday hood jargon. So whatever. But anyway, if you would like to donate to the show, $ capital LURLUCIDITY, $ capital LURLUCIDITY, on Cash App. And we are streaming on all streaming sites, honey. We working. We on everything. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We are everywhere. So make sure if you didn't get to see all of this podcast, go there. It'll be playing. And the special treat, there are other things on those streaming platforms that you can go check it out and get the tea. Like there's interviews. Oh man, I've done so much. We are like 300. We are like, believe 300 episodes. I'm supposed to be taking a break, but I kind of can't just yet. But I am. I'm going to take a break really soon. But yeah, things are happening around here. And then if I do take a break, it can't be for that long because I got deals in the works and people I'm working with, collaborating with and partnering with that it changed overnight. I don't know, but I'm thankful. But I don't know. So yeah, it won't be a long break. It'd probably be like a week tops. So yeah, those are the things that I have to say. Take care of those character flaws though. Take care of those. I think that's where we need to be at with it. I do, honestly. I need to take care of mine too. But I'm taking care of them every day. My work ethic is impeccable. So I'm slowly but surely working on them. Man, I love you guys so much. You are extraordinary, those that tuned in. I couldn't even see you. I need y'all to start commenting so I could just show y'all love the way I want to show y'all love. But with that being said, I ran over a little bit tonight. I don't care. But I do have to get out of here. So, a couple of things I need to say before I go. Mind your motherfucking business. Everybody's business is not your business. It's not. And it's good for you to stay in the business that pays you, but even to a certain extent with that, just mind your business. It's a dangerous world out here. Secondly, encourage your babies. Encourage them. Tell them they are the greatest of all times. Encourage them to be whatever it is that they want to be. If they want to work for NASCAR, then tell them to be the best NASCAR driver or pit boss or whatever the hell they do over there at NASCAR. I don't know. I've never worked for NASCAR. If they want to work for NASA, encourage them to be the best astronaut, engineer, secretary, janitor, receptionist. I don't know. Whatever. Just encourage them to be the greatest at it because they need the encouragement. Who's going to tell them they could do anything if it ain't you? You're their first line of encouragement. So encourage them and tell them they're great and hug them and kiss them and tell them, baby, I love you. You mine. I love you. And last but not least, stay in your fucking lane because you jump in my lane, you getting this. And you know. You don't want her. She could be a little bit vicious. And it's not because she wants to be vicious, but sometimes y'all just pull it out of it. And it ain't cool. You want her. She's sweet and cuddly. She is. She's sweet. You just want to pet her. And then when you pet her, this happens. I'm a happy girl if I'm purring, but just the point is stay in your lane, because what happens is a collision, and who the fuck needs a collision? Nobody. So stay in your lane. And with that being said, I gotta get out of here, y'all. I gotta get my daughter ready for school tomorrow. We gotta be up bright and early. I love you guys. Sorry, my phone's turning on. I love you guys. Be safe out here and be awesome. Good night.